And hello, everyone. Today, we're going to get a little personal, as I said. Today, we're going to get very personal. We're going to dive deep into the fears of business owners and what we can do about them. That's right. I'm Justin Goodbread, your host on the Financially Simple Business Podcast. They're trying to change it. I think we're going to go Financially Simple Bizcast. We're pushing this through on Facebook Live as we speak. And I want to talk today about the fears we business owners face. The reality is we face a lot of fears. This year, 2020, has been one for the record books. It's been unbelievable. I don't know about you, but I have spoken with hundreds of business owners, maybe thousands, but tons of business owners this year. And 2020 has been a year that has tested the resolve of even the most seasoned business owner. And let's be honest, at night, whenever it's you and your spouse or significant other, you're laying awake thinking about something in your business. You are. How do I know that? Because I am. And I am no one special. I don't have all the answers. I wish I did. But nonetheless, we're faced with a number of different things. And so I want to hit it square on the head. Let's come out and let's say, yes, we business owners are scared sometimes. Not all the time. We don't live in the spirit of fear, but we do have valid and consistent concerns. I've seen individuals face a number of concerns this year. So I want to kind of address the fears that we often approach, and then what can we do about them? Harvard Review did a study not too long ago about the top 5 things that we business owners think about, or that keeps us up at night, or candidly that we're scared of. The first one is financial security. The reality is, and we spoke about this in season 2 ad nauseum, the reality is that for a business owner, the number one asset that we have is our business. And so thus all of our eggs are in one basket, literally. We're engaged on a regular basis between Heritage Business Advisors and Heritage Investors to teach business owners on how to diversify away from their business being the largest asset. And I got to tell you, if you've ever heard me speak in public, or if you've heard me speak anywhere on any type of a show, you would know that I'm not a big fan of using Wall Street type products for business owners. It's just not what I think. But if we're going to deal with financial security, we have to know some math. We have to know some techniques. We have to know how to grow our net worth where it's not reliant 100% upon our business. If we remember from season 1, we dealt with statistics of business owners. And truth be told, only about 4% of business owners in the middle market will actually end up selling their business. I mean, think about it, 4%, that's ridiculous. So those business owners who are maybe in the micro market, that's less than 5 million annual in sales. Some people say 10 million annual in sales. Whatever, 5 or 10, that's the majority of business owners. In fact, there's about 5.3 million business owners pre-COVID, that were involved in the micro market. And financial security is the number one fear. So who do you run to as a business owner? Do you go down the street to the financial guy who sits there in their ivory palace wearing their suit and tie and telling you how much more they know? I've heard so many business owners say, yeah, I met with so-and-so that worked for this financial firm, and man, I think I could buy that individual 1,000 times over. And candidly, you can. I know a ton of financial advisors, and most of the time they're broke. They don't think like you and I do. Look, I'm a business owner first. They don't think like us. They don't have the net worth that we have as business owners. And I got burned when I was a kid dealing with a financial person. When I say I was a kid, I was 18 years old. And he said, hey, son, when you learn to make more money, come back and see me and I'll teach you how to be wealthy. And I want to say fly kite, dude. Go fly kite. So, look, I get it. Financial security is a huge issue for us business owners. Another one is self-esteem. That's the number 2 recorded by the Harvard Review, self-esteem. You know, our business oftentimes is us. We are our business. In fact, that is the number 1 cause for regret upon selling, is the loss of our identity. And we talk about that in the book, The Ultimate Sell. I challenge you, if you've not read it yet, go to Amazon. You can pick it up there. It's the book I wrote that deals with, I think it's 56 chapters on step-by-step on how to make the ultimate sell. And identity, or our self-esteem, is often wrapped up in our business. The third thing is the threat to our social esteem. Now, that's different than self-esteem. Social esteem is dealing with failure, dealing with how am I viewed in the eyes of my peers, right? COVID, man, it's rocked the world of so many business owners this year. It's been unbelievable to watch. And I've seen business owners struggle specifically with social esteem. And that is the number 3 thing that business owners fear. Number 4, according to the Harvard Review, is opportunity cost. What are we making the wise decisions with the monies and the resources that God's given us today? And many times business owners are trying to say, well, I don't know. Should I go out and buy this equipment? Should I go out and buy this division for my company? Should I hire? Should I fire? Should I grow? And it often boils down to this opportunity cost. I've dealt with this ad nauseum on season 2, where we talk about opportunity cost, and we also talk about cost of capital. Those 2 things go kind of hand in hand as we're dealing with business owners. The 5th thing that Harvard Review says we business owners are awake at night is the ability to execute. I don't know about you. I have 1,001 ideas every single day on how I can help provide better service to the customers that I have and our team has the honor and privilege to serve. I have 1,000 ideas on how to do that. But as these ideas flood in, I'm often trying to challenge with how are we going to execute these? What is the timetable? I want to drive a speedboat. I want to be so nimble in our business, but oftentimes we navigate aircraft carriers. We can't move really fast, or we're going to shift all the airplanes into the water if we try to turn this ship too fast. So the top 5 things Harvard Review has identified that we business owners face. Now, there's another study that's done through the Forbes program. It's called the Fear and Entrepreneur Study, and they identify 8 things that we deal with. The first one is focusing on the wrong endeavor or the wrong process. Hey, should I go out and try to buy this segment? Should I push this new product forward through? Should I, whatever it is? We often focus on that as one of the biggest fears we face. We focus too much time and energy on our resume versus our eulogy. It's been said that our life is summed up by the dash. In fact, there's been books written about this, been poems written about this, that we were born on this year or this date, and we are dead on this date. We deceased, we move on this date, and the dash summarizes our life. And so much we business owners, we focus our time on building our resume. Yeah, I was just telling somebody today, I have this burning desire to be a New York Times bestselling author. That is a desire that I have more than anything. And when it comes to the marketing side of my business, it's something that's been in my mind since I was in college. Like, Justin, dude, seriously? Yes, seriously. That is a huge goal of mine. One of my top goals for the next 10 years of my life. But candidly, friends, on my deathbed, do you think my kids care about that? No. And so we spend a lot of time thinking about how we burn and blaze trails ahead of us, only to leave those whom we say are the most important behind. And it bothers us. We're fearful with that. It's something that's been recognized, that we would all recognize. And you're like, Justin, dude, that's me. That's me. Because it's me. I speak to myself as I give this podcast today. Another fear that Forbes has identified is committing to too large of expenses. Now, this is not one that I'm typically involved in, but I see this happen day in, day out with business owners. And that is, we buy a huge piece of equipment on the hopes that we can make a sale. Or we go out in a rental property business and buy a 4, 5, 6-plex building in the hopes that we can have a 90% occupancy rate. And we make these big purchases thinking that we can keep up in revenue. We have an individual right now that we're helping that found himself in this vortex, as I call it. He went out and bought a lot of equipment thinking the sales would come, the Field of Dreams model, right? If you build it, they'll come, and only to find himself where the sales didn't happen. Dave Ramsey speaks about this, which is what led to his bankruptcy. And so many people have fallen into this trap, and business owners are often fearful of this. We're scared of legal action. Now, with the right insurance, you can protect yourself from this, but we're scared of legal action. I found myself in legal action a couple of times now, and it's not something I look forward to. But with the proper planning and the proper counsel, you can help mitigate that risk. But it's still one that scares us. I remember the first time I went through a legal action. Holy cow, I didn't know what to do. But for a wise attorney trying to calm me down the best he could, I think I'd have gone crazy during that time period. So we're scared of that. That's something we're often scared of. We're often, and I love this one that they identify, Forbes identifies as number 5, that we're often overwhelmed or drowning in opportunity. Now, I don't know about you, but I can see 1,000 ways to accomplish the mission that I believe God's laid on my heart. I can see 1,000 ways to do it. And there's opportunity everywhere. In fact, I was telling our team that, look, we can go down these roads, but it's going to cause complexity in our business. And we're not scared of complexity. We want to simplify the process so that we can reach more people with a simplified message. Many times we business owners, we chase every single rabbit that runs out of the bush. If I'm using a hunting analogy, if I'm going rabbit hunting and we want to chase every single rabbit, oftentimes you're not successful in that way. We want to limit the opportunity, become laser focused on our highest and best use of our abilities. Number 6, which I love this one by Forbes, is they call it imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome. I have had the opportunity to work with hundreds, thousands of business owners across our country. And as I'm working with these business owners and we're talking about their plan, and as I dive deep into it, inevitably, I rarely find a business person who truly understands business. I rarely do. We understand our product or we understand our service, but we don't understand the business side behind our product or our service. And many times I hear, man, Justin, I'm just faking it, man. This is not who I am. And candidly, if we're truthful and many business owners were to lay this out, which is why it reached the top 8 list in Forbes, many times we're imposters. Number 7 is a fear of lack of preparedness. Now, if anything that has been pulled back in this curtain of COVID, it is which business owners were prepared, fundamentally and financially, and which business owners were not. And so I understand this one. This is one that we preach loud and clear when clients engage us to help them grow their net worth and grow their businesses. We want to make sure that they're prepared for life, as I call it. Sometimes life happens, right? 2020, I think I said on the podcast the other day, if a meteor fell out of the sky right now, a big one, it wouldn't surprise us, right? This has been 2020. But we can be prepared. I often say whenever I teach our personal planning client, our advisors, to use this terminology that we're going to plan for the best, but we're going to prepare for the worst. That's how we business owners often need to approach things. And many times we're scared. We're not prepared. We're scared. We know that a wind could come along and we could be in bankruptcy. I heard somebody say one time that we're 30 days away from bankruptcy. I heard another person say, big hat, no cattle, talking about people in Texas who look good, they smell good, but they are broke. And that's many times we business owners. Let's be honest. We're scared. Let me tell you one that scares me, and they hit it right here on number 8. It's not having enough work to feed my team. See, as business owners, we realize that we feed a lot of mouths. We do. We realize we pay a lot of house payments. We pay a lot of car payments. We pay tuition. We pay health. We buy a lot of groceries. Whenever we take on the responsibility of having a team, employees that support what's the word I want to use? Subrogate themselves to us, that submit themselves to the business philosophy. It's upon us business owners to make sure they're cared for. I saw more tears, mark me down, I saw more tears through the early phases of COVID from business owners than I've ever seen in my life. And it wasn't of, hey, the business owner is suffering. It was, my team is suffering. My team is suffering. I know that. That's one of my largest fears that I have. If I'm being truthful and candid with you, one of the biggest concerns that I have is letting my team down. Hands down. You say, well, Justin, what about your customers? Look, we have the honor and privilege to serve hundreds of business owners nationally, teaching them how they can grow their net worth. What I like to try to teach people how to do is how they double their net worth every 3 to 5 years. You can do that if you bring your business into the equation. I like to try to teach people how to do that. And our team on the personal planning side, they're great. And on the business planning side, we're teaching our clients how they can increase enterprise value, how they can prepare their business for an exit, how they can prepare themselves to decentralize from the business operations. You've heard me speak about this on the podcast for the last almost 300 shows now. Clients, yeah, love them. Have some dear friends. But clients are going to be okay. With or without us, they're going to be okay. Our team, man, if we're honest, if we're candidly and truthfully honest, those people that we have the opportunity, mind you, the opportunity to walk in the trenches along day in and day out and join hands and accomplish a unified mission, they should keep you up at night. You are a steward to their responsibility, and we get that as business owners. And so, yeah, we have some concerns. Look, I have a list here. We worry about making major mistakes. These are the things I've heard this year. We worry about making major mistakes, which is going to cost the business deeply. Life happens. What happens if sickness, if divorce, if debt, if the economy? What happens if that disrupts our business? Time management. Man, that's a big one for people. I've been writing these down over the last 6 months, keeping track of the fears that I have personally heard with my ears, okay? The feeling of isolation. Now, I don't know about you, but as a business owner, it is lonely. Let's be honest. It is lonely sometimes. There's many times whenever I don't feel like, it's not true, but I don't feel like I have an out to speak to somebody else. My wife, I love her dearly. You heard her on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, but she doesn't understand the business side of the emotions of the business owner. Our team, as much as they try to empathize with me, many times they can't. And so this feeling of isolation, it's real. It's a fear that we face. The feeling of cash flow crisis. Man, this year has been amazing to watch business owner move through this cash flow paradigm, this major issue that we've been dealing with. The fear of reaching goals, the fear of loss of joy. One of our new team members just joined us. You'll be able to meet her before too long, but she asked me a question in the interview process. She said, Justin, what causes you to get out of bed in the morning? And let me tell you, I couldn't answer it on that very second. It's like, man, I could answer it very tritely. I could have, but I said, that's a good question. Let me think about it. We lose our joy sometimes. We get burned down. We talked about that when we looked at vacationing. Many times, let's be honest, our income doesn't match our efforts. I'm meeting with a client in about a week and a half, 2 weeks from now, who's candidly said, I feel like I'm pouring everything I can into this business, but I don't see any personal gain. I don't see any direct benefit from this thing because our income often doesn't match our efforts. So I've even heard people say, forget it. I could go work for somebody and make more money than working for myself. It's a big fear. We talked about failing the team. We talked about out-kicking the competition. We even have people that are saying, man, the competition is killing me. I can't keep track with them. They're better funded than I am. They're better staffed than I am. How do I deal with this? As we spoke about letting your team down, but perhaps the one thing that I hear is not being able to meet payroll. Whenever we go through tough times, and we dealt with this in 2020, business owners, and I heard you loud and clear. I'm telling you, I'm not a novice at this, friends. I have the opportunity and the privilege to speak with thousands of business owners. And I often hear, man, what if I can't pay my payroll? We fear this idea of becoming lazy. The older we get, and the more weathered we get through the storm of business, we get a little lethargic sometimes. And I hear that. I hear this idea of, man, should I grow and expand? Am I scaling properly? Man, I have regrets. Who doesn't, right? Yeah, we have regrets. We have regrets as business owners. There's a lot of fears. Now, I ask you, as a business owner, did I name your fear? Chances are yes. Chances are yes. But if I didn't, that's okay. The reality is we have a fear. Now, I'm using fear very loosely. As I mentioned earlier, I'm using it very loosely. I'm using it to the point that it keeps us up at night. We have this concern. So what do we do about it? I'm glad you asked. In season 1 of the podcast, we spent a lot of time, we spent over 100 episodes almost, dealing with the exit plan, preparing our business for the ultimate sale. And out of that, we birthed the book, The Ultimate Sale. I challenge you to pick it up if you've not read it yet. It's available on Amazon. It's available wherever you may can find it. Actually, we saw it in a bookstore not too long ago. In season 2, we dealt with the value growth process, and our second book is coming out. We've been dealing with this. I can't wait to tell you the title of it. The graphics team is working on the cover here soon, and we'll be able to get your opinion on which cover looks best for the second book. But it's birthed out of season 2's content. We had a request late last year to say, hey, Justin, we'd love to ask you some questions. And man, at the questions we were asked. So we started season 3 with Ask Justin. And throughout this entire year, we have answered hundreds of questions, both on the podcast, on the Facebook Live version, on YouTube. If you're not for those of you who are driving in your car right now, listen to this, check it out on YouTube or check out on Facebook, or either one of those, and you can see all the questions we've answered. But now it's time to deal with us, the business owner. We've dealt with preparing our business. We've dealt with exiting. We've dealt with the questions that have flooded in, especially amidst COVID. But as we enter into season number 4, I want to deal with this thing of fear. And I want to lay it out for you over an entire season, specifically around the most important calculations that you and I should know how to do. And if we know these calculations, then candidly, there's only about 20 of them. If we know these 20 calculations, all of our fears dissolve. All of our fears are quantified. And now we can look through the lens of our future and our business and our person without the emotion of fear. So as we launch coming up, we're going to season 4. You're going to hear a new introduction, new themes, new little bit different design in the podcast. And we're going to be dealing specifically with the most important calculations that every business owner must know. We're going to cover that perhaps throughout the rest of this year, maybe early into next, as I'm recording this in early September. So I challenge you, identify your fear. What is it? What is it that keeps you up at night? Is it like me, worried about your team? Is that what keeps you up at night? Is it like me, worrying about letting somebody down who you've gave your word to? I can remember my dad walking me down an old country area. We were out hunting in middle Georgia, and we were walking on a fence, and he paused and he said, son, you're a Goodbread. If you give your word, you honor it. Man, that's hard. That's hard. I've never forgotten that. Never in my life have forgotten that. And I hope that I can stand up to his expectations for my life. Now, I know many times I fail. I'm human. I regret every time I do. And if I failed you personally as you're listening to this, man, I'm sorry. That wasn't my intention. But we have these things which drive us, which are at the core of our being. We call it our ethos, our core belief. What is it for you? Whatever it is, I promise you, in these next 20 points that we're going to cover over this next season, it can help alleviate your fear. Hey, look, friends, I realize that life is hard. I get it. Life is hard. We have fears, but life is good. Life is good. For every fear, there's an equal and greater positive joy. For every fear, there's an equal and greater solution that counteracts that fear. If we lived in fear, we wouldn't live in this life in abundance that we currently have and that we all as humans participate in. Life is frustrating, but it doesn't have to be, especially money. Hey, look, we're going to continue to make our lives, at least, financially simple. Till next time, y'all go out and make it a great day.